Welcome back, ghouls and goblins. I hope you're having an absolute magical day. And as always, thank you so much for taking the time to support the channel. We're getting ready to take sail to Dominaria United. We have new cards, some spoilers to look at, also some new and returning mechanics to discuss. So join me on the journey to Dominaria United. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to help support. Let's dig into these new cards. Oakley Dokley. So here we are, first off with some quote-unquote pain lands, and this refers to the paying one life or dealing one damage to ourselves for the ability to add a colored mana, right? So, what's really nice about this is it makes your mana availability through all the different dual lands here quite accessible, as well as the ability to now tap for colorless mana. We do see things in the past that will tap for an additional colorless mana, things like Forsaken Monument, right? So this is really cool because it gives you the benefit of, running something like that or just using your color-based mana for that consistent aspect of your, your curve out. Very, very nice because as you assemble your, your fifth and your sixth land, you won't really have to be paying life to use this land. You can, use your other colored lands for that spell and just use this as its generic as well, right? So really, really, really cool. The fact that you can play two colors on your first turn if you want, right? So it makes some really, really crazy things possible as far as your mana curve goes. Having access to this still through the past and right now through the snarls, but that's more of a restrictive play, as now you need a basic land in your hand as well, or else it's untapped, and everybody can pay life on their first turn. Moving on from all of these dual pain lands, which I believe are fantastic, we have a Liliana. For 3 mana, each player discards a card, target player sacrifices a creature, and then separate all permanents target player controls into 2 piles. That player sacrifices all permanents in the pile of their choice, which is pretty goofy, right? So for 3 mana, 3 starting loyalty, +1 immediately. Each player discards a card, right? So that could be good for you if you're running a Reanimator deck. It's not just bad to get at their hand, right? But what's really cool and stands out to me personally is the target player sacrifices a creature. So it's removal for 3, plus you retain the value of the Planeswalker that can plus next turn, force the discard, plus again, and just kind of build up from there, right? So I think Liliana is fantastic because of the -2. It makes it super, super playable. If they have an attacker to threaten the Planeswalker, well, now they're going to need 2 because Liliana's just going to take care of 1 right away. Squee, Dubious Monarch for 3 mana. This is a 2/2 legendary creature, Goblin Noble with haste, and whenever Squee Dubious Monarch attacks, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token that's tapped and attacking, and then we may cast Squee from our graveyard by paying 4 and exiling 4 other cards from our graveyard rather than paying its mana cost. This is fantastic. It has the War Boss, kind of a similar feel to it, where it's making that token when it attacks. I really do like that, right? So it's a 2/2 with haste, and it's going to create a 1/1 that's also tapped and attacking, which is really quite nice. And, being able to replay it from your graveyard is very cool as well. Downside is currently there are a ton of ways to make sure that, this doesn't re-enter from the grave through some exile. There's literally so many things right now that exile cards from the grave. So if it can make it through, very good. And it's going to force them to have to deal with that graveyard, right? But nice card. It is a legendary, so it's going to keep you from probably playing it too many times. But at the end of the day, it's a goblin that creates a goblin in 1 card for 3 mana with haste. So yeah, that's a problem. Sul'Kanar the Tainted. 5 mana within Grixis colors, that black, blue, and red. 5/5, legendary creature, elemental demon, and at the beginning of your end step, choose one that has not been chosen. Draw a card. Each opponent loses 2 life, you gain 2 life. Sul'Kanar the Tainted deals 3 damage to up to 1 other target creature or planeswalker. Exile it and then return to the battlefield under your opponent's control, right? So it's it's a big body or a nice booty, and it's going to draw you a card to replace itself. It's going to deal some damage, gain some life. It's going to most likely remove something, but then your opponent gets it, right? So pretty cool. What you could do is sacrifice this, when this is going to trigger on that last step. and then gain value from your creature that way, bring it back, and then, you know, you re-trigger those first 3, sacrifice it, bring it back, re-trigger those first 3, right? To keep your opponent from gaining control of it. That's kind of what I foresee within this elemental demon. So the fact that it's an elemental is quite cool here. Sir Eternal Schemer, for 3 mana within Esper colors, white, blue, and black. A 1/4 legendary creature, human wizard with flying. Enchantment creatures you control have Death Touch, Lifelink, and Hexproof. Sure, wizards. That's really cool. Thanks. And we can pay 1 generic, 1 plains, or white source. Target non-aura enchantment you control becomes a creature in addition to its other types, and it has base power and toughness, each equal to its mana value. Very, very interesting. A 1/4 Esper Flyer that gives everything else enchantment creature-wise, as you'd be building around Death Touch, Lifelink, Hexproof. Really, really cool. These cards kind of do have a Serious Commander feel to them, but I imagine they're playable outside as well, as they are included in the regular set, as far as my knowledge base goes. Soul of Windgrace within Jund colors with a generic. This is black, red, and green. A 5/4 legendary creature, Cat Avatar. And whenever the Soul of Windgrace enters the battlefield or attacks, so that's nice. Multiple triggers happening here. You may put a land card from a graveyard into the battlefield tapped under your control, which is really, really good. We can also pay a green source to discard a land card, gain 3 life. You know, keep in mind that this is a repeatable effect within these 3. You don't have to tap the creature to do it. You just have to have the mana availability and the land to discard. We can pay 2 to also discard a card, draw a card in lieu, and then finally giving it indestructible until the end of turn and tapping it for 3 mana, which is really good. Giving things indestructible to dodge removal is fantastic. It forces them to exile. Raff, Weatherlight Stalwart for 2 mana, a 1/3 within Azorius or white and blue colors. Legendary creature, human wizard. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you may tap 2 untapped creatures that you control if you do draw a card. Interesting. So you could be making artifact tokens potentially. We can also pay 5 creatures you control, get +1/+1, and gain vigilance until the end of turn. And then we can buff all those. So this is, you know, a really nice, you know, an uncommon budget card for your token deck, I believe. The Raven Man, nice. This is a 2 mana within black, 2/1 legendary creature, human wizard. At the beginning of each end step, not just your own, but your opponent's also. If a player discarded a card this turn, create a 1/1 black bird creature token with flying, and it has this creature cannot block. We can pay 4, tapping the Raven Man. Each opponent discards a card, activate only at sorcery speed. I really like this. I think it's flimsy, but at the end of the day, making those tokens on each end step can definitely get out of control. The Ageless Innovator, Jaya, for 2 mana within Izzet colors, that's blue and red. A 2/3 legendary creature, human artificer. We can tap the creature, putting 2 ingenuity counters on Jora Ageless Innovator. Then you may put an artifact card with mana value X or less from your hand onto the battlefield, where X is the number of counters on her. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. A 2/3 doesn't have haste. We'll have to tap after. But if this is allowed to remain in play for a while, fairly decent. 2/3 for 2 is not the worst. I think if you had really cheap, like 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop artifacts, that could definitely be a possibility. I believe there's also the option to make your entire deck artifacts as well. Anywho, the Benalish Sleeper for 2 mana is a 3/1 with kicker within black. Interesting. If it was kicked when it enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a creature. Huh. Not the worst, not the best. It's like definitely a card, though. It'll be really good in limited, I think, right? Defiler of Dreams for 5 mana. This is a 4/3 with flying, a Phyrexian Sphinx. Interesting. I like that quite a bit. As an additional cost to cast blue permanent spells, you may pay 2 life. Ouch. Those spells cost 1 blue less to cast if you paid life this way. Interesting. So it's just transforming your blue mana into Phyrexian mana, in which you can pay life to cast. This effect only reduces the amount of blue mana you pay. Fantastic. And whenever you cast a blue permanent spell, draw a card. Okay. Hopefully this is going to, work well within a life gain deck. White, blue, life gain. You're casting blue, paying life to reduce it. Drawing a card. Well, no, that's permanent. Well, no, I mean, Omen of the Sea, for example, right? That's going to be blue. Well, no, it doesn't gain you life, but I like this card. This is interesting. We're gonna look at this a little bit more as we go. It's a nice card to build around in Constructed. Sheoldred the Apocalypse for 4 mana, a 4/5 with Death Touch. Whenever you draw a card, you gain 2 life. Whenever your opponent draws a card, they lose 2 life. Wow. That is busted. It's a good thing it's a legendary. Could you imagine stacking that? Archangel of Wrath for 4 mana, 3/4 with Kicker. Black and red, flying life gain. If it was kicked when it enters the battlefield, deal 2 damage to any target. And if it was kicked twice, it will also deal an additional 2 damage to any target. That damages life gain damage, which is, nice for you. Plus the 3/4 with flying, not bad. Really cool, non-legendary. You could stack this, right? That is definitely not too shabby. The Phasing of Zhalfir, 4 mana. This is a saga that features a new mechanic, Read Ahead, which allows us to have it enter at any chapter that we choose and progress from there, losing inherent value in the card, but potentially the timing or tempo of the play would be more beneficial if you were to skip ahead. Another target non-land permanent phases out. It can't phase in for as long as you control the Phasing of Zhalfir, right? This will trigger twice and then finally destroy all creatures. For each creature destroyed this way, its controller creates a 2/2 black Phyrexian token. That is not too shabby, right? So whether you want the immediate removal or you want to protect a couple of your things from the removal as it triggers after. Downside is your opponents knowing that it's coming at this point and they can interact with it to remove it and avoid that. Guardian of New Benalia for 2 mana. This is a 2/2. Another new mechanic here, Enlist. As this creature attacks, you may tap a non-attacking creature you control without summoning Sickness. When you do, add its power to this creature until the end of turn. When Guardian of Benalia enlists a creature, scry 2. That's really, really good. And you can also discard a card to give it indestructible until the end of turn. We will tap it consequently. What a fantastic card, a white 2-drop that can allow you to scry. It can, be bigger and be badder with other creatures not necessarily attacking. We don't mind it, and the indestructible, that's priceless, right? Moving on, we have the Nishoba Brawler for 2 mana. This power is equal to the number of basic land types among lands you control. Now, this is, I believe, our 3rd revealed mechanic called Domain. It has trample, and its toughness is 3. Charismatic Vanguard for 3. This is a 3/2 creature dwarf soldier boy, right? And we can pay 5. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until the end of turn. It's not too bad. Ajani Sleeper Agent. This is 4 mana. However, we do have the Phyrexian here as well, so we can pay 2 life if we so choose through the completed mechanic. We've seen this previously within Timeo. 4 loyalty as it enters. This is quite cool. If we do pay 2 life for that Phyrexian mana, it will enter with 2 fewer loyalty counters on it. So keep this in mind. +1, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature or planeswalker card, put it into your hand. Otherwise, you may put it in the bottom of your library. Gets rid of lands. -3, distribute 3 +1/+1 counters among 3 target creatures. They gain vigilance until the end of turn. I like that quite a bit. -6, you get an emblem. Whenever you cast a creature or planeswalker card, or spell, I should say, target opponent gets 2 poison counters. Oh, wow. So, poison counters revealing themselves once more. That is interesting. Rada's Fireblade, 2 mana, 3/1, Human Warrior. When it attacks, target creature defending player controls with power less than the Firebrand's power cannot block this turn. Domain for 6. It gets +2/+2 until the end of turn. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each basic land type among lands that you control. Activating it only once per turn. Shalia's Alakite, 5 mana, 3/4, kicker for 2 with flying. If it was kicked, it'll enter with 2 +1/+1 counters. Territorial Maro, LOL, 5 mana. Domain, its power and toughness are equal to twice the number of basic lands that we control. That's actually pretty good. Brady's Arisen Nightmare for 3 mana, 3/3, legendary creature Nightmare, and at the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice an artifact, creature, enchantment, land, or planeswalker. Woof. If you do, each opponent sacrifices a permanent that shares a card type with it. For each opponent who doesn't, that player loses 2 life, and you draw a card. I like it. The World Spell for 7 big ones. This is a mythic enchantment saga with read ahead, so again, allowing us to choose whichever chapter to enter on. For the first 2, we will look at the top 7 cards of our library, revealing a non-saga permanent card from among them, putting it into our hand, the rest into the bottom of our library in random order. And then finally, put 2 non-saga permanent cards from your hand into the battlefield. Okay, you settle down. So read ahead straight to number 3 if you need. Like if your graveyard's all, or your hand's already filled with some non-saga permanents. So what I read here is put 2 Titan of Industries from your hand into the battlefield. That's all I'm reading here. That's all I can see. Put 2 Titan of Industry cards from your hand into the battlefield. Wow, that's cool. What a great card. Impede Momentum, sorry. For 2 mana, sorcery, tap target creature, put 3 stun counters on it. If a permanent with a stun counter would become untapped, remove 1 from it instead. So it's going to remain tapped 3 times. That's pretty good. Scry 1 as well. Huh. I like that card value-wise. Herd Migration for 7 mana. Sorcery with Domain, creating a 3/3 green beast creature token for each basic land type among lands that you control. We can pay 2 to discard it. Searching our library for a basic land, revealing it, putting it into your hand, then shuffling it, you gain 3 life. That's not that bad. I don't know why it doesn't say channel, but, you know, you can discard it. Sphinx of Clear Skies for 5 mana. I like Sphinx quite a bit. It's a cool creature type for me personally. A 5/5 with flying and War 2 Domain. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, reveal the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of basic lands among land types that you control. An opponent separates those cards into 2 piles. Put 1 pile into your hand and the other in your graveyard. Interesting. And then finally, not even going to attempt. Nemata, Primeval Guardian, a legendary creature, tree folk with reach, and if a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead. When you do, create a 1/1 green Saproling token. We can also pay 1 green, sacrificing Saproling. The Guardian will get +2/+2 until the end of turn. We can pay 1 in a black for 2, sacrifice 2 Saprolings to draw a card. Very, very interesting. So I believe that is not all, because we've got some new cards coming in. I will have to click into these as well, though. Join Forces. 3 mana, instant speed. Untap 2 target creatures. They get each +2/+2 until the end of turn. That's pretty decent. A nice response to a Wandering Emperor exile, right? Don't mind that, do we? Just jumping back out here. Lightning Strike. 3 damage to any target for 2 mana at instant speed. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Burn is back on the table, baby. I love Lightning Strike. What a fantastic card. 2 mana, instant speed, 3 damage. Okay, sure. Resolute Reinforcements for 2 mana. A 1/1 with flash human soldier. When it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. The Micromancer for 4, Human Wizard, 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an instant or sorcery card with mana value 1. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. That's not that bad. Astor, Bearer of Blades for 4, a 4/4. Legendary creature, Human Warrior. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may reveal an equipment or vehicle from among it and or among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest into the bottom of your library in a random order. Equipments that you control have equip 1. Vehicles you control have crew 1. Oh, wow. That is interesting. And with a final refresh, we will close out today's video. Those are the spoilers so far from August 18th, Dominaria United. We will be updating you as more cards are released through the coming weeks. We have the pre-release event, I believe, on the 30th and 31st, about a week and a half away, which is super exciting. And then early September, that's going to be available for everyone on Arena. And then the first week of September, that's going to go live in the stores for everybody to play in paper, which is super exciting. So thank you all so much for taking the time to support, watch the channel. I appreciate you. Let's end the day with a pack. All right, so I've got a pack open here. It is a Midnight Hunt pack. Let's see if we can tear into it in a timely fashion. I feel like I'm getting old man thumbs. Like I can no longer nimbly work my way into a pack. Like I used to open, probably 80 packs a minute. You know what I mean? People measure their typing speed. I measure pack opening speed. Beautiful. We get a signed full art cosmetic card. Absolutely love to see it. Those art cards are great. Oh, wow. And this literally pays for the pack. That is a full art, alternative art, holographic swamp. That goes in the collection, pal. So far, we're doing pretty good. I expect the rest here to be just kind of limited garbage. Maybe we can get something good. A duress is not bad, right? Duress is pretty good. As far as, limited garbage goes. I wish we could get a better focus on the camera here. There we go. Dreadhound. Infernal Grasp is a keeper as well. That's like a fantastic card to pull. The Graft Keeper. The Village Watch. Bloodline Culling. Not what we wanted to see. Definitely not a meat hook. But it's kind of like a poor man's meat hook, right? So that's a nice keep there as a rare. And then a Holographic Cavalry. With our filter card, if you know what I mean. But not bad. At any pack where we're getting a full art land, that's pretty cool, right? Because those are definitely going for dollary dues right now. It'd be cool to get a meat hook on top. But, we've got probably half of this Midnight Hunt box to go through. So we're going to get there. We're going to get there. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a magical day. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so to show your support. It really does mean a lot. And we'll catch you in the next.